111. Welcome on Monday to the boring programming stream number 14. I'm Errichto, if you don't know me yet, and the plan for today is to plan some videos, maybe to clean up the to-do list from my GitHub wiki. Hopefully we are live on Twitch and YouTube. On YouTube it's Errichto 2 and on Twitch it's Errichto. I didn't announce the stream in any place, maybe I will just ping on Discord. The stream shouldn't be very long, I think it will be like 2 hours, up to 3 hours, something like that. YouTube, Twitch, I'm just looking on the site on my laptop whether everything is alright. I don't think we're live on Twitch. Huh. I think we are only on YouTube. That's bad. That's very bad. Unable to connect. I think I know the issue. I changed the password to my Twitch account. Add channel. I hope I can do that in the middle of a stream. Twitch Errichto. Okay, now it's connected to my Restream account, but it is offline. Restart your broadcast to apply changes. Okay, I will be back live in a minute. Hi, I'm back live. For like 3 minutes we had technical difficulties because of Twitch stream not working, but now it should be fine. Yes, it is. I will remove the first YouTube stream because I guess it's already there, and on YouTube the video will be split into 2 parts. Let's see, video, or maybe not. Can I scroll it? It should work. I can scroll to 3 minutes back. Okay, awesome. But how is it possible? I stopped the stream for 5 seconds. That's strange. Anyway, welcome everybody. The plan, as I said, is to plan some YouTube videos, maybe the next lecture or something like that. I will just ping on Discord about the stream really quick. New boring stream is live with a link. Okay, that should be enough. Hello Sahil. Let's start with current notes. Edit, and here I will remove some stuff. Also Restream chat, I will open a new window on the side so I would see everything. Editing current notes. I can remove plans for binary search lecture because I did that. I didn't do everything here. For example, I didn't mention find duplicate number problem and find median. I will leave that. plans for binary search lecture. Like that. This I can move to some other file, like video ideas, I guess. This follow up. Binary searching the answer. Find the duplicate number and median. Finding median in O of one space. Save. Cool. What else is in current nodes? Current nodes is like current to do. Types of binary search. Okay, I can also remove. Should I stream or record my lectures? I will keep recording them because then they are really high quality. Save page. My journey in competitive programming sounds awesome. I would say it doesn't sound useful, but I guess it's interesting. Okay, video ideas. I already removed from here binary search lecture. What is the order now? Consider problems, YouTube, Facebook easy problems, some easy coding interview. Of course, I'm talking about videos for my main channel, Errichto, youtube.com/Errichto. And recently I made, I think, a high quality lecture about binary search. It's quite long, 28 minutes. I will consider next time just spinning it up in my editing software, because I talk quite slow. I already recommend people here in description consider turning captions on and setting the speed to 1.25. Maybe I will just do it by default. I think the most pleasant experience is to just hit times 1.25 and then the speed is fine. I will consider that. I have a lot of comments here. I didn't have time to read everything. Maybe I will do that today. I will add to current notes. Excuse. Read and answer comments under this lecture video. Hello, Nicola and Suraf. What will be my next lecture, by the way? I still think that lectures are more valuable than just problems, because there are thousands of problems. I want to create a bunch of good lectures. Let's think. Next few videos. Indeed, some easy coding interview problem. What is competitive programming? That's for later then. I think that's those three should be quite soon, because they are about recent events. Maybe in this order, how I cheated in Google Kickstart first, because this is about something that came up recently too. On Codeforces, there is thread by Matthew99 about being cheated by someone. Somebody told him that he's a tester of a contest and he needs his help during the contest, so that Matthew would solve problems and send him codes, what is obviously cheating, and that person just wanted codes to submit them themselves, what is stupid. That imposter also wrote to me, and Just the difference is, it was obvious for me that he's cheating. Maybe that's the first thing to do. Some easy coding interview problem. What about the next lecture? I think I want a similar topic, just like binary search. I will not jump to something hard. Like what, 2 pointers, something like that. I had a page where I noted down coding interviews here. Topics, I will choose from this one. Sliding window and 2 pointers. What about DP? I think DP is quite important. Dynamic programming lecture, how I approach problems. How to approach, how to think about it. That should be useful. Just the basics of how I think about those problems. In particular, I do not think about intersecting sub-problems. I didn't know those words till like 6 months ago. That will be again easy, just like binary search. You beat Radeusz in contribution. I think we are tied. Yeah, 189. Make more videos about math for competitive programming. What is math in competitive programming? I'm not sure what would be that video. I asked you in the past stream about random number from multiset and I got answer on code forces. Oh, interesting. You have an array with n elements. Let number I occur in multiset Ri times. How to get random number from multiset Q faster than log n. Yeah, but again, I told you to provide the source. You said that that you don't have source. It's like your own problem. Then mention it. Say that I came up with this problem. Would it be possible to solve? The fact that you're using some constraints means that you took it from somewhere. Otherwise, how you would take these constraints from? Where you would take it from? Alias method. Sometimes I wonder what are the trends that determine whether a post would get straight up downvoted or not. Here you don't provide the source or just mention what you're talking about. It looks like you're copying a problem. Then how do people know that it's not from a contest? I think that's the issue. This is why I wouldn't for sure upvote it. I rarely downvote stuff, like asking for problems, but I think that's what's wrong. In a moment I will read the article because the problem is interesting and I'm curious about the solution. Do you run? You mean, do I run for like 30 minutes? Like a sport? No, I don't. DPS and I said yes, most wanted. Remember your graph approach on the pairs video in the first channel. Can you make some videos on how we can use data structures to simplify problems? You can use data structures to solve problems, just like you use algorithms. I'm not sure how it's about simplifying stuff. I didn't think about that. I think I told you last time that the source is needed. Just after posting it, I got -17. Well, the other thing is that you shouldn't worry that much about that, the downvotes, because it's random. If a few people downvote something and then it is -5, then people just blindly do it. It isn't... the system isn't perfect. Alias method is a family of efficient algorithms for sampling from a discrete probability distribution. O of n log n or O of n per processing time, after which random values can be drawn from the distribution in O of 1 time. Probability table and an alias table. To generate a random outcome, a fair die is rolled to determine an index into the two tables. Based on the probability stored at that index, a biased coin is then flipped, and the outcome of the flip is used to choose between a result of I and k of I. Generate a uniform random variable x from 0 to 1. Then do that. This is a random index, because from 0 to 1 we now get from 1 to n, and y is the same minus I. This is the value from 0 to 1. The difference is not having a floor. Y is uniformly distributed on 0, 1, I from 1 to n. If y is smaller than u of I, return I. Otherwise, return k of I. Table generation efficiency. The thing is, if those n events are not equally likely, we still compute one random event, but then we again generate something random, which is probability y from 0 to 1, and with some probability we change decision from item I to item ki. The question is, with what probability? What is ki and what is ui? I think I got the idea. Oh, and there's that thing about OneNote that is now different. I cannot click here and make the menu stay. What is bad? Plus one more thing. If I hit F11, on the left there is white stripe that wasn't there before. I think there was some update of Windows and now it's even worse than it was before. Okay, what I wanted to do, random problems, new page. Nope. Delete that. Let's say I'm copying this one. No, I want to copy, but previously it was necessary to... I want to click it, then hit Ctrl C, but now Ctrl C, Ctrl V doesn't work. If I click it, okay, it worked. Okay, what is the name? Alias method. I can remove everything. Okay. Let's say the probabilities are 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Then I'm trying to figure this out myself without reading the whole article. And then this is what? Each event should have probability 0.25. I will say that there are 4 things possible, just for index 1, 2, 3, 4. The first step, they said, is to generate one random one of them. This one with probability 0.25, and that's fine, 0.25. But also here, we have 0.25 to get to, but then with probability 0.05, we should change the decision to something else, like this one here. Here with probability 0 I mean, this is like from 0.25 here we should get down to 0.2. So like 1/5 of that. 1/5 of that will be 0.05. So with this probability, we should change the decision to other bucket 3. Then this is, again, this should happen with probability 0.15, because this is how much, if I get that with 0.25, this is something I should subtract to make the first one happen only with probability 0.15. And just like previously we analyzed this is 3/5 of 0.25. If I get the first bucket with probability 3/5, I should change to bucket 4. Okay. How would I do it then? How would I construct the thing? I would start by saying, okay, I have first one. Let's say that if I want the first one to happen with 0.4 and this is 0.25, then I'm good and I do nothing. But if I want this to happen with probability 0. Let's say 11, and this is 0.25, then with probability 0.14, with probability p is 0.14 over 0.25, with this probability we should change that decision to k1 equal to something. This is p1, or actually they called it u1, the probability to change decision from bucket 1 to something else, and q1 will be some other bucket that should have big probability. This will be the current max. Like here, for those values, the first max would be this one, 0.4. And then I subtract that value from 0.4. This will be less. That's the remaining value. And I should be fine. Do you know William Lin? I think I do. Hey Kamil, congrats on being 500 subscribers in your second channel. Oh yeah, I think I reached exactly 500. Yay, exactly 500. Right now I have also recently, it was 500 on Twitch as well, 515. Plus, what is it on the first channel now? I think the goal is now 5,000. The current number is 4,129. I wonder how high I can go at all. The competitive programming community isn't that big. This is my main audience. Though I branch out a little bit. Coding interviews are accessible for much more people. By the way, the binary search lecture turns out indeed much better than other videos. It already won by views with 4 previous videos. The yet previous one was 2 months ago. Obviously it gathered some views since then. My all-time most viewed video is Dynamic Programming at Coder Educational DP Contest. It's 8,000 views, but it's from 3 months ago. I think binary search will be better in terms of that. We'll see. Okay, do I understand this thing correctly? Table generation. Distribution may be padded with additional zeros to get n to be a power of 2. First initialize UI is npy. What is np? What is np? The overfull group where UI is greater than 1. Oh, this is n times pi. Under full, exactly full group. Choose an overfull entry and an underfull one. Choose something that has too big probability and too small, and allocate the unused space in J to outcome I, setting that. I think this is what I did, right? If I have too big probability, then I send it to somebody else. Remove that. Entry J is now exactly full. Assign entry I to the appropriate category based on the new value of UI. What is those? The name. Okay. Points out that floating point rounding errors may cause the guarantee referred to in step 1 to be validated. If one category empties before the other, the remaining entries may have UI set to 1 with negligible error. The alias structure is not unique. And there's some extra thing to make it slightly faster, like 2 times faster, but it doesn't matter to me. There is some heuristic that is unlogged, but the first version is just open. Fine. Cool method. I didn't know it, and I don't know if I would figure this out myself. So I think these two will be my next plan, plus some easy coding interview. I don't know in which order. I want to mix things up. What was there recently? Hello Shroud, welcome back to the stream. I need to finally hide the boring programming streams. Like move the comments to Errichto 2 channel to make this cleaner. Plan to make videos explaining C++ STL functions and tips and tricks that are useful for competitive coding. Well, tips and tricks I'm teaching you all the time. Every problem is some trick or tip. STL functions, I'm not an expert in that, not really. I shouldn't talk about it. I can use some, but not to the extent that I'm able to explain them. What should be the order of those 3 videos? How much effort I need for each of them? Dynamic programming lecture is obviously the most effort. I'm not sure how to approach this one. Then some easy counting interview problem. I can choose that today. If you delete the BPS in Errichto channel, will YouTube remove the ad revenue that you get from the BPS video? I think I shouldn't care about that because my ad revenue is 0. I don't have ads on my videos. I don't earn from YouTube. Even if I did, that wouldn't be a big amount. That being said, I think that it doesn't disappear. YouTube displayed ads. Advertisers paid for that, and I would get that if I had ads, but I don't. I should click some button in my YouTube channel to turn on the monetization, but I don't want to. Your video or binary search was awesome. Thank you. I wonder if this dark theme of GitHub is not too... It lacks contrast a bit. Those letters are not white. They are gray and the background is gray. It might be a little hard to read. Check your speed on that. I think I already did on one of the streams. Or this is something different. Is this their new layout? I have this here in my tabs, and the layout is completely different. 10fastfingers.com looks the same. Okay, just the main page is different. I even have an account. Here's my results. The top in English. Do I have French? Why? My record is 119. I got that twice. How was your code jam round? I can talk about it for a moment. Let's try first the speed. Let's refresh. Oh, new record, 121. 0 mistakes. Not 0. Oh, I guess... Wait a moment, why is accuracy not 100%? I had 0 keystrokes. Did I hit backspace at least once? You can rewind that. I wonder... Did I use backspace? Or maybe the last word wasn't finished and because of that it's not 100%? Anyway, this is my new high. It doesn't mean much though. Oh, what did I do? It doesn't mean much though because I did this test multiple times and I just can type those words quickly. Here we have, those were 200 most common words in English. Now it's 1000 plus some are uppercase. Because of that I will get like 90. You got wrong in there. Okay, thanks. Did I hit backspace or was it wrong? It displayed 0 incorrect words. First one bad. Problems, north, time, growth. I don't know some of the words. Was Reagan a president? That won't be a record. I'm terrible. $91, not so bad. Maybe I should have typed slower to avoid mistakes. Then I think I would get better result here. Backspace. Okay, thanks. Regarding the code gem, I had workshops this weekend from Friday to Sunday that I organized with my friends, to people in high school. That was I spent a lot of time there. I'm tired, and this is the reason why today's stream won't be very long. I think I will finish in at most 2 hours in view rounds. And in the middle of that there was Google Code Jam round. I'm very glad that I advanced. I didn't feel very well. I was distracted. Also, there was a march of equality. That thing for LGBT in Warsaw. I'm extremely cool with that, but the thing is, it was very loud, and they passed through a street that was nearby, and for 15 minutes I had to listen to very loud music during a very important contest. That was bad for me, but fortunately it didn't affect the fact that I advanced to the finals. There were 4 problems. The first one was something very special, tricky. You had to invent some strategy for a randomish game. I liked it. I quickly came up with a solution, but made some bug, so I thought it doesn't work. Then I coded a different solution. It didn't work either, and then I got back to the first one. I can load my code, and you see that I implemented something extra. All of that. Actually, this was, I first coded this, then I commented that, and before that I then implemented this long code. Then I got back to this version, and the main thing I changed is, I think, here, or maybe there. I think here I changed 1 to 2. And my strategy started working. I won 500 of 500 games. Previously it was like 400 of 500. I thought it works, but not well enough. Then there is second problem that I knew a very similar problem, so I quickly came up with a solution, quickly implemented it. Even in standings you can see that I have a very low time there, where I am, 17th. First problem 36, second one 47. It took me 11 minutes. If I started with that, I'm quite sure I would be first to solve it. I don't see anybody with 17 minutes, with 11 minutes. In the top, there's 27 minutes there. Here it's hard to say because this is the first accepted. Then again hard to say because Gennady submitted both problems. I think here it's 16, 20, 30, and the reason why I solved it so quickly is that recently I solved a similar problem on a stream. It was about water being trapped by columns, and I just, after a minute, I understood that the problem is the same, just with some extra trick. That was fine for me. Then with third one I spent a lot of time. I just guessed that maybe something greedy will work, and it did. I didn't like the problem at all. I considered switching to the last one, which is worth a lot of points, 40, and it's kind of geometry, about folding origami or a piece of paper, and I'm glad that I didn't try it because it's just too hard. It was necessary to solve problems A, B, C completely, and 25 advance, somebody will not go. It was necessary to get time around 2 hours. 2 hours 15 minutes was fine to solve ABC. If not, you had to also solve D small. And I did, just 4 minutes before the end. But I could stop after solving C. 144 plus 2 incorrect submissions. This gives me like 150. I would be where? I would be here. I think I would get 21st or 22nd place and would pass anyway. It's sad that you had to just solve ABC. Nobody was able to solve D. Because of that, the order of problems could hurt you a lot. You just had to solve exactly those 3 problems. Maybe some people tried B, C, and then D, then they failed. I see that A was hard for some friends of mine. Pavel Paris was in CodeGem finals a year ago in Toronto. Świstek is also a very strong competitor. Świstek complained, I remember, about the interactor, that it was hard to use, and I agree. And that's it about this year's CodeGem round 3. 25 people advanced to the finals in San Francisco. I'm 17th, and I'm looking for the confirmation in a few days. First, they have to go through the submissions to find cheaters, if there are any. And yeah, I will be in San Francisco in September? I don't remember English names of months. The 8th month. Thanks for streaming this. I'm new to your stream, but I really like the concept. Awesome to hear that. How many people advanced to the finals? 25. Are you a computer science student? I am not, and you can read the frequently asked questions. Link to FAQ is in the description, both under Twitch and under YouTube video. Hello math buddies, how are you? Thank you for congrats. CodeGem is mean to young people under 18. Yeah, they have rules that you have to be 18 to go to the finals. Sometimes some people aren't yet 18 and they already advance. They cannot go there. But it's understandable. You have to travel yourself to a different country or continent. They don't want that responsibility. Plus they want you there to invite you to work there. And if you're not 18, you cannot, I think. So it makes sense. Do you use your defines often? Not defines, like rep or something like that, uppercase 4. I use my debug templates. This is like very convenient. Okay, I can start planning this lecture. Written answer comments. Maybe first that, and then I will plan dynamic programming lecture. Oh, not new page. Back, edit. I will find problems to talk about. The first one will be, I think, Fibonacci. Then stairs. That is actually also Fibonacci. Let's start with binary search lecture comments. If you're new to the stream, like 3 times a week, currently 3 times a week, I have those boring streams where in particular I do boring stuff like answering comments on YouTube. I have to do that anyway, and people apparently like to watch it and talk with me. I'm fine with that. I can also take a look at analytics of this video to show you what is it. The dotted line or not dotted, I don't know the word, is my average for a video. Blue line is my actual result for this video, which means the results are great, much better than my average video. Audience retention is something that is terrible for on YouTube, I think. An average person watches 1/5 of a video. That's very low. But also it's understandable for educational stuff where you usually watch YouTube for entertainment, I think. Not many people watch half an hour video about programming, also about something harder than usual, and will watch till the end. We see that 35% of people last till 2:30, only 20 last till around the end. Then last 1 minute is worse. In last minute I do the summary of everything, and I'm actually surprised that people click away there, because it's valuable. It's a summary. What else is there? Like how many percent of views is from external sources like Codeforces, how many from just browsing YouTube. Among external, Codeforces is the main one. Suggested videos from which videos. If people search for me in YouTube, it's just searching Errichto. Interest viewers, nothing interesting. Built-in audience. Here we see the percentage of people that use English subtitles. It's 50%, which is very high. Most of people from India. I don't understand these stats. This never sums up to 100%, and I think that India has more views than other countries, but not by that much. In particular, this is also visible for comments sometimes. I think I don't truly understand the statistics here. Plus, this sums up to like 40 something percent, 50%. This sums up to I think 55%, not to 100. And it's impossible that from those few views from every other country you will get the remaining 45. Something interesting here might be the percentage of the average view time. For example, Russia has much bigger one, 6. United States has quite low. India is close to average. Then Morocco is very high and Syria is very high. I guess it's about several people that are competitive programmers and they just watch everything. 57% of views is from subscribers. There are new subscribers from the video itself. But I wanted to answer comments under the video. They are quite a lot. Newest first. Are you going to drop any video this week? Hopefully. I'm very tired after the weekend, but I think I will have some time to make at least one. Mostly all the qualified candidates are from previous year. What are you talking about? About the Google Code Jam finalists? Or what? I'm Darman Shah, aka Math Buddies. I know you wrote to me outside of YouTube. That being said, I don't remember names. Sorry. I was in that 10%. Cool. People came to YouTube for entertainment. Pewds get thousands of views in seconds. That's rough. Of course, entertainment has bigger value. Not bigger value. It's easier to watch it. This is why you often visit YouTube. Plus, I'm sure I'm far away from the best possible quality I can get. Will you upload this stream YouTube later? I stream on YouTube right now, and it will be available later. All of your audience is male. This is also not entirely true. I don't get those stats completely. Okay, I closed it already. But like, even if I know my girlfriend opened a stream just to add +1 to views or something like that, or a video, it will still be 100%. Even if there is like, I don't know, 50 views only. It isn't 100% accurate. I believe that it should be close to 99%, but it's certainly not 100. It's about CodeGem. Mostly all the qualified candidates are from previous year. The finalists do repeat because those are just top people in the world. It would be quite good to predict the top this way. Go to, not here, home, go to top rating, take like top, I don't know, 50 or so, and take random 25 people with bigger probability that somebody from the top will get there. This should be like roughly how finalists are chosen. You won't see a lot of low red people or yellow people there. And of course, those people are very good in algorithms. You're the first person who pronounced my name correctly. What did I say? Like Darman Shah? I didn't even pronounce it previously. Well, Math Buddies is easy, right? This looks like Darman with a silent H. Basically, I'm reading how this would be read in Polish, just remembering that some letters are silent in different languages. Why do they conduct so many rounds? To get more traction, attention. It's better to be active in your social media several times instead of just one round. Plus, the rounds differ in difficulty. The first one should be possible to participate for tens of thousands of people. The problems will be easy, but the last ones, to make it interesting for top people and to make it good to choose the 25 best, the problems must be hard, instead of making it a typing competition where problems are easy. Everybody knows how to solve, everybody from the top knows how to solve each problem after minutes, and it's whoever will type quickly and not make a bug. There is a reason for multiple rounds. Comments sorted by time. I can start by going from the last ones. Thanks so much for such videos. A lot of people struggle badly. Please keep making such conceptual videos. Did you mention invariants? I answered that. I don't think they are important. I think I explained how to approach BS problems with the logic behind that. How would invariants help more? And he provided me with a link. There is no need to define variable ans. What is it? Part 1, invariants. You didn't answer my question. How would invariants help more? Plus, there are plenty of ways, or there is plenty of ways. There are a lot, there is a lot, there is plenty of ways to implement BS. I compared several of them and chose the one that is easy to explain, quite intuitive, and you won't likely make a mistake. In particular, you always do low is mid plus 1 and right is, or high is mid minus 1. In other implementations, usually you have to care about plus minus 1 there. Where to do DP questions? I'm almost missed specialist by that due to DP questions. I don't think educational DP is helpful out of code forces. Why educational DP contest wasn't helpful? The one at Coder. Which is the best? I don't know. The one with editorials. So maybe Code Forces and at Coder. At Coder DP contest is maybe more for not beginners. Only a few problems are easy there. But yeah, I would just go through Code Forces DP problems sorted by difficulty. Going to San Francisco, maybe try to collab with some big YouTubers like TechLead or something. I actually had that thought. I am going to write to some of them. We'll see how that works out. In particular, Jonah likes interviewing people, so maybe that's a good call. Thanks a lot for the clear explanation. Oops. Thanks, Errichto, for the well-prepared material, and thanks, Ready, for captions. We have a comment by Math Buddies. And indeed, huge thanks to Ready for providing good captions. There were several people helping me with captions for different videos, and captions by Ready are the best. It's really safe zone, but didn't think before. Yeah, that equation works. Make videos on DP and graphs. Make a video on LCA. Also on permutations and combinations. Word-class video must watch, everyone. Please tell how to approach for problems such as that. The editorial describes a solution. Don't have to, just like with first square root of x problem from the lecture, you don't have to binary search over the array. You can binary search some value. In that problem, you like the answer to the problem. The study from that showed that only one in 4 textbooks has a correct implementation. I also think that this is interesting. I found that fact in Wikipedia. Great video. Which topics do you plan to do next? And will you focus more on CPR interview preparations? I will give a link to my video ideas. You can read my video ideas in my GitHub wiki. I want to mix CP and interview prep. Great lecture, very well explained. And the guy asked about absolute versus relative difference. I answered, so that's done. Best lecture on BS implementation, thanks. Cool. This was great. We will be covering data structures algorithms not typically found in undergrad books. Square decomposition and sign tricks, for example. Yes. I plan both. Square root deco and sectors. More video ideas here. Congrats, Kamil, for a great video. With every video I learn more and more. Please make more videos like this where you explain other popular algorithms. Segment trees, graphs, strings, KMP. Yep. Amazing lecture, thanks. Would be nice if you make a video about some DP problems and explain them easily to the less experienced programmers. I think that will be out soon. Maths is much needed if you want to be good in CP. Since you study economics, I don't study economics anymore. I learned from maths from school and from textbooks. Learned. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Video on DP will be there. I will just copy this or not. Planning a lecture on DP actually. Should be out soon. Make more videos. I answered that? Yes, I did. Thank you very much for your help. Trying to get into competitive coding without having a computer science degree. Your videos are very much helpful. Clear explanation. Recommend some good problems on binary search from code forces, which are a must do. Thanks in advance. There aren't really some particular code forces problems you have to do. Maybe those from educational rounds, because they tend to be quite standard. It was those more teach basic techniques. Can you make tutorial on suffix arrays? I don't like strings. Do a lecture on basic gradient DP. Please make videos on educational round problems. I will make on some. Cool content. Video got far better when I speeded it up to 125. Please make tutorials on dynamic programming. Again, I will copy the same thing. Found another good reference in this lecture. Let's see the link. I'm sometimes scared to open links. What if they lead to not to binary search stuff? Here's you need some link. It's 1 hour. I will not watch it. I'm sure there are plenty of lectures on binary search. Of CD level questions which implements binary search, then it will be better to understand, but anyway, this is the best lecture. Can just read. Now you know basics. You can try to solve or try solving, try to do or try doing. Try to do. You can try to solve those problems yourself. If you don't succeed, read the editorial. If you don't succeed. Thank you so much. Practicing recently. Simple to advanced algorithms. Sorry if hope you will make more videos about simple to advanced algorithms. Yeah, I'm planning that. This is done. I can remove it from current notes. And now I think I will choose problems for the DP lecture. Also in near plans is how I cheated in Google Kickstart and some easy coding interview problem. but it's easier to plan. For just like binaries, on binary search I spent several hours. I think in total it was more than 10. It was more than 5 hours of research, comparing stuff, solving easy problems on LeetCode, then several hours of recording, plus some editing, just 2 hours of experimenting with OneNote to see what I can do there with black background. It took me quite a lot of time. Because it's hard for me. Okay, so DP questions. Yeah, choose website that has editorials. Can you make video on how to do heavy light decomposition, centroid, binary lifting? It's not my priority, but maybe eventually I will. HLD and centroid decomposition are rarely ever on Codeforces. I think centroid decomposition is quite often there, just in hard problems around the diff1d. And last to last round he had it. Do you use Project Euler website for maths? No, I don't. Hello Diaz. Is that Grammarly? Yes, it is. You're getting amazing response. If you do continue making such quality videos, your channel is gonna grow really fast. I hope so. Though I would imagine that after putting one very good video, it would blow out and I would get hundreds of thousands of views, you know. But the speed is just average. This video will not exceed 5,000 views in a month. So it's much better than what usual people start with on YouTube, but it's also not that fast. Congrats on CodeGem, thank you. Yes, it's Grammarly. Can you make some videos on ICPC prep like your hashcode video? But ICPC isn't some special contest like optimization problems or approximation problems. It's just algo. Hard to practice for ICPC. Solve ICPC problems with your team. That's like 5 seconds. I will eventually talk about ICPC, ways to train, but again, not my priority. Let's focus on DP lecture. How to approach a problem. Again, I will take a look at what LeetCode has for that and what Interview Beat. Those are two free websites for preparations to coding interviews, at least partially free in terms of LeetCode. In case of LeetCode, DP, proceed to level. Introduction. Okay, this was videos. I don't want to watch videos. I can read this. Okay, I actually saw it before. This is a good example. Writes down 1 + 1 + 1 and so on a sheet of paper. What's that equal to? 8. Then if you add one more 1, you know that it's 9 without counting this again. And the DP is the idea of reusing things. Think of a recursive approach to solving the problem. I think about it in a completely different way. Plus, this example has barely anything to do with DP, right? We can say that these are prefix sums, but when you want to compute some big sum, 1 + 1 + 1, people do that. They add numbers one by one. If they have a new number, we know the answer. The same if it's on the left. I like the example. It's not perfect. Calculate the nth Fibonacci number. I think my lecture will be just on iterative method. I don't want to touch both. My way of thinking about DP doesn't even involve recursive step, usually. Lead code, explore. You can add a poll on YouTube for people whether they prefer white or black background. People prefer black background. Keep going. I don't care about YouTube metrics. Just keep making videos. We need quality audience, not more audience. You know, no matter what you do, metrics are cool. If you, for example, I don't know, start running, you want to measure your time, you want to compare the progress. This is what motivates you further. So that's why I also look at those numbers and the views. Can you talk how to do subsegment questions with DP? I struggle with that. I don't understand your question. Questions about some subsegments, like queries about those? Depends on the problem. Do you have favorite topics of problems? Ad hoc, combinatorics, probability, maybe geometry. Generally something with arrays that doesn't require big knowledge. Analysis of stuff with arrays. And I hate strings, graphs, and game theory. I'm bad in that stuff. Do we have DP? We don't. Lead code, dynamic programming. We have tag dynamic programming. Coin change problem. HackerRank had some tutorial for dynamic programming. I don't want to sign up. I want to HackerRank problems. Okay. No, thank you. Cool. Jobs leader practice. DP. Okay, that's bad. It's only a few problems. What else I can do? Lead code has hundreds of problems, so this isn't a perfect place to watch through them. Where can I find basic DP problems? Geometry. Yes, in my ICPC team I was responsible for geometry problems. That teddy bear in the background though. I hope you like him. Dynamic programming tutorial. They have the same example. Jonathan Paulson. Who is Jonathan Paulson? Software engineer at Jump Trading. Worked at Jane Street, and before that I worked for YouTube. Graduated for Carnegie Mellon. I should maybe know him. Code Forces. I don't know him. Again, I see a quote by him. Apparently people like this example. Dynamic programming and recursion. I don't like that. optimization problems, combinatorial problems, sub problem. Okay, this is a long thing. I will read that. I will start writing down examples. Fibonacci for sure. Stairs from count ways to get from step 1 to n if you can jump to one of next 2 or 3 steps. Coin exchange. What was easier there? I think one of those coin exchange problems was quite hard because it's easy to overcount stuff. Oh, I know which version is easier. The minimum number of coins used, the number of ways. When you count the number of ways, you care about overcounting something, and it's an issue here. This version is much easier. I think you should edit this post. Let's see what it is. Can you paste what does the post say? Oh, it's the one that says watch my streams on YouTube. Is this the one you're referring to, Mustafa? If yes, then indeed, actually Errichto 1 is for short videos and Errichto 2 is for streams. I should edit that. I don't want to open Facebook right now because of the chat and everything. Facebook is also my private thing. I will add that to do. Edit pinned comment on Facebook. The pinned comment. Okay, what other problems are there for DP? Yes, okay. Thanks for suggestion. You could find a lot about DP on Geeks for Geeks. Let's try that. By segment problems, I meant this one. Checks Geeks for Geeks. Okay. How do you feel about divide and conquer? No big feelings about it. Just a standard technique. Lose it. Given an array, each AI is one of 6 numbers. Your task is to remove the minimum number of elements to make this array good, and this is in some way described. Then, this is not something very special. It's about analyzing what is here described and making some observations, thinking how you can solve it. I have no idea how I would either comment on this type of problems, this is something very general, or make a lecture on this type of problems. What is this problem? The fact that the statement has something about subsequences or subarrays doesn't say a lot. Like graphs are some category, DP is some category. The fact that problem mentions segments doesn't mean much. Geeks for Geeks, dynamic programming. This is mainly an optimization over plain recursion. Basic concepts. Bottom up and top down. I wonder why, maybe Wikipedia, why dynamic programming is called dynamic. It refers to simplifying a complicated problem by breaking it down into simpler sub-problems in a recursive manner. Not necessarily recursive manner, though maybe. We reuse values computed for smaller problems, so sub-problems. Not necessarily recursively. When some decision problems cannot be taken apart this way, decisions that span several points in time do often break apart recursively. History. The term was used to describe the process of solving problems where one needs to find the best decisions one after another. The word dynamic was chosen to capture the time-varying aspect of the problems and because it sounded impressive. The word programming referred to the use of the method to find an optimal program. It would be stupid to name algorithms for graph programming, right? Dynamic programming. The time varying aspect of the problems because it sounded impressive. Okay. I think I will include that in my lecture. Wikipedia says what does Geeks for Geeks say? Yeah, I now see that Drew in chat gave the link to the history tab in Wikipedia. I don't fully understand the reason still. Maybe it's also a language barrier. I don't fully get the meaning of the word. I understand that dynamic is something that changes with time. It doesn't apply to the concept of DP as you solve something using, like, you compute the answer quickly using sub-problems, answers to sub-problems. Tabulation method. State. I wouldn't call DP of something state. Or maybe. Like state is n. DP of n is the value at that state, the optimal answer. Bottom-up approach. The factorial of a number, that's a good example. No, maybe not that good. I will add it. Because you can't solve factorial linearly anyway, just from the definition. No need to use I minus 1 factorial to compute I factorial. You just think about it as going through the array and multiplying by I each time. I think dynamic means stable and programming means feeling. The Wikipedia doesn't say so. But still cool name in my opinion, Mustafa says. Maybe. It would be too hard to change, obviously, no? Where was I? Here. I need to learn to pronounce this word. This says memoization. Yeah, memoization. I also heard a version with like W sound here. Memoization. Something with like W here, I would say. Memoization. Okay. I will mention a recursive way to write stuff in my lecture, but I will focus on iterative one. This is the one I use, my friends use. This is the one that is faster and allows you to solve hard problems. Tabulation. Transition relation is difficult to think. I don't understand why, it's the same thing. If you here write fib of I is the sum of fib of I minus 1 and minus 2, then it will be the same thing here. I agree though that code gets complicated when a lot of conditions are required. That might be true. Speed is here fast and for recursion it's slower. Subproblem. If some subproblems in the subproblem space need not to be solved at all, the memoized solution has the advantage of solving only those subproblems that are definitely required. Like if we want to, for example, start from a big number and consider dividing it by 2 or by 3 recursively. You can divide by 2, by 3, by 3, by 2, by 2, stuff like that. Then you will visit only some states. And you want to maximize something, I'm not sure what. Or count the number of ways to do that. Whatever. Then you shouldn't do that iteratively. From 1 to n, compute something, because you don't need answers to most of numbers. I will note this down. Sometimes recursion is better. Example, given n, you can repeatedly divide it by 2 or 3. Count something. Recursion will get to some states only. Count the number of numbers you can get this way. Something like that. Though it's close to BFS or DFS then. Like we visit some vertices. Maybe that's not the best example, but I will think about it. Okay, that's the end of the first article. DP2, optimal substructure property. You're amazing. Well, thank you, Ozdi. Trying to find DP lecture on iterative approach, but mostly are on recursive. They are slower and painful. I agree. Iterative approach can solve harder problems. Oh, I closed the chat by mistake. Let's move that to the end and this one as well. Two main properties, overlapping subproblems and optimal substructure. What is optimal substructure? Please tell me. Does set 1 say what is overlapping subproblems? I see now, I'm looking at the ad on the right. The much awaited placement preparation course is back. Starting from the 10th of June, pseudo placement, register now. It's free. Pseudo placement is back to help you this placement season. Is it free? The course duration is of 2 months. How frequently will the mock placement test happen? Once a week. Any prize for the winners? Top 25 will be getting goodies and certificates from Geeks for Geeks. Is it really free? If yes, then that's very cool. But I heard nothing about it in the past. Recursion is needed when you cannot figure out the order to consider states. Yes, that's an important note. Thank you, 0442. Visiting too many states. That, or it's when it's hard to figure out the order in graphs. For DAGs, you can find top order first. You can do topo sort first, topological sort. Dynamic programming combines solutions to subproblems. Solutions of same subproblems are needed again and again. For example, binary search doesn't have common subproblems. Okay, but this is about recursive approach. I want to try something completely different. Memoization is that, tabulation is that. Time taken by recursion method is much more than the two techniques mentioned above. Yeah, something like 2 to the 40 will take a lot of time. Actually, it's not 2 to the 40, it's more like what? Phi to 40. Right? Fibonacci ratio. This should be equal to phi. Phi number. Yep, it's that. The key Fibonacci ratio is found by dividing one number in the series by the number that follows it, and this converges to that. It's not hard to prove. Maybe longest common substring is a good example. LCS. Did I close optimal substructure? Yes, I think I did. If optimal solution of the given problem can be obtained by using optimal solutions of its subproblems. But overlapping subproblems was the same thing. I don't like the fact that people use some complicated words. Overlapping subproblems, substructure. What is substructure here? Is it a word? How would you define structure of a problem? If a node X lies in the shortest path from a source node to destination, then the shortest path from U to V is combination of the shortest path from U to X and shortest from X to V. This is not true. Oh, if it lies on the shortest path, then it's true. Standard all-pair shortest algorithms like Floyd-Warshall are typical examples of DP. I like this comparison, where shortest path is DP and longest path is not, and I wonder if I can explain that nicely without using optimal substructure thing. I think I can. I usually just explain that when we go from left to right, or whatever order there is in the problem, then when we are at some position, we should know everything that is important so far, that is needed to update the answer in the future. And for paths, it is, we would need to remember which vertices we already visited. But if we're looking for the shortest path, then it doesn't matter which vertices we visited. We will not visit them twice in the optimal path, the shortest one. In the longest one, this is not true. But that's worth describing. Why shortest path of a graph with positive edges works and longest path doesn't. We would have to keep track of all visited vertices so far. The longest path. How to classify a problem as DP? Maximize or minimize certain quantity or counting problems. That, and then first maybe try greedy. Deciding the state. Maybe this could help. I will take a look in a moment. Thank you for a link. Deciding the state. DP problems are all about the state and their transition. State can be defined as the set of parameters that can uniquely identify a certain position or standing in the given problem. This set of parameters should be as small as possible to reduce state space. I might use this definition. I explained that by when we are at some position, what is important so far. This is the state. Knapsack is an important example. Knapsack. Save. Nope, I clicked something by mistake. Our first step will be deciding a state for the problem after identifying that the problem is a DP problem. Formulating a relation among the states. I think that the hardest part is to find the state. The transitions are then easier. It requires a lot of intuition, observation and practice. Let's understand it by considering some sample problem. We need to tell the total number of ways we can form a number n using the sum of the given three numbers. I think the hard part is to define the state. Then you can get some n by getting some n minus 5 and then adding 5, n minus 3 adding 3, and minus 1 adding 1. But it's the hard part is to understand this can be solved with dp, and to say dp of n is the number of ways to get n. Transitions, I would say, is an easier thing. Though I like the problem. Allowing repetitions and different arrangements. We decide a state for the given problem. We will take parameter n to decide state as it can uniquely identify any subproblem. What does it mean? It can uniquely identify any subproblem. I don't like it. Our state dp will look like state of n. State of n means the total number of arrangements to form n by using that. Something harder for the future is forward dp versus, this is forward versus pull from dp. This is a bit similar to bottom up versus top down, where either you compute the new value using previous ones, or using the current value you update future values. Adding 5, blah blah blah. Okay, adding memoization of tabulation for the state. This is the easiest part. I will not do recursion. Below problems first and try solving them using the above described steps. Each Bytelandian gold coin has an integer number written on it. Coin n can be exchanged in a bank into 3 coins, n over 2, 3, 4. All these numbers are rounded down. You have 1 gold coin. What is the maximum amount of American dollars you can get for it? What are they saying? You can change. First we have n equal to 12. You can change 12 into 6, 4 and 3, and then change this into that. Okay, they say for coin n we get those 3 coins. This statement doesn't make any sense. For coin of value 12, the bank would give you coins 6, 4 and 3. That's just a stupid statement. This one is too big. I mean, the too long statement. How to get back? Mean cost path. That's something valuable. Get from top left to bottom right corner with minimums or maximum points. I should give links to places where you can submit those problems. Path in grid maybe? Yeah, I just got this problem. I think that statement, it can uniquely determine each problem, means taking n as parameter will work for each case of states. What does it mean, work for each case of states? I don't get that still. I'm a student here at Geeks for Geeks. It would be great to know if any article requires some improvement or should be refined. Okay, cool to have somebody from Geeks for Geeks watching. Well, I already saw one thing on that list. Geeks for Geeks dynamic programming. When I click those 4 links, one of them led me to a website blah 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 dp2, as we discussed in set 1. Okay, so the thing is that here you have a link to dp2 and number 3 is dp1. Trivial thing, just swap the order of those two. That's one thing. It's hard for me to judge the materials about recursion because I simply don't use them. I don't use recursion, I use iteration. But yeah, I will say if I see something wrong. Seen any E3 last night? Oh, I saw the Cyberpunk 2077 trailer. Actually, when we woke up, after I was making breakfast, and my girlfriend told me that I must see the new trailer. It was from the E3, and I wasn't like, the 90% of the trailer is fine. This is what I would expect, and then the last scene is just very cool. I will not spoil that to people. I will try finding some link where the title doesn't spoil it, and I will paste it here. Just give me a moment. Because just thumbnails spoil the thing. Oh, I see video that where title and thumbnail doesn't spoil anything. Here you go if you want to watch it. I loved the Witcher game, The Witcher 3. I also played previous ones. Actually, I played the first one and then the second one only for like an hour, but also I had a bad laptop. Now I play on PlayStation. And Cyberpunk isn't something that speaks to me, but because of the distributor, the company, CD Projekt Red, I think I will buy and play it. It will be a well-prepared, well-done game. We'll make sure the orders are changed. Thanks for your suggestion. You're welcome. That's a very tiny thing. Where was I? Again. So maybe that's a general suggestion. I don't like the fact that I cannot click in this area because it opens an image, plus it actually redirects me to something else. I cannot hit X to close an image, or I cannot hit escape, what is very convenient. Some websites just, zoom in on that image. It shows, it takes then half of a screen, but you can close it with X or with escape. You shouldn't be redirected to a different link after you click here. Okay. Given the cost matrix, Write a function that returns cost of minimum cost path to reach that from here. What about just saying from top left get to bottom right corner? It's very unnatural to give the whole matrix and then ask about the minimum path to this cell. Each cell of the matrix represents a cost traversed through that cell. Total cost of a path to reach that is sum of all the costs on that path. You can only traverse down, right, and diagonally lower cells. You can only traverse down, right, and diagonally lower cells from a given cell. That's not okay, but that is from given cells that can be traversed. You may assume that all costs are positive integers. That's fine. The easier version is to just allow to go to the right or down. That's just easier. My suggestion here, remove mn. Just say go to bottom right corner. Otherwise part of a matrix is unnecessary. Plus, this is a hint. The fact that you should compute that for some position mn is the hint for the state of dp. The path to reach mn must be through one of these three cells. So minimum cost to reach that can be written as minimum of the three cells plus that. Now put down overlapping subproblems, and we have memoization here. Or do we? Temporary RITC in the bottom-up manner. Oh, this is iterative solution. Fine. I think there is a mistake in this code. You create one moment or not. Oh, there is no mistake because you here do something different for the first row and the first column. I think it would be easier to just iterate over everything once without thinking about the first column and the first row. And for every cell, including those in the first row, for example, say that this is minimum of left cell, top cell, and top left, if you want to do that. But then you don't check the top cell if it doesn't exist. I don't like breaking it into like three cases, something special for the first row, something special for the first column. And minimum of three numbers is there in C++. You code it this way. Min of, and in brackets x, y, z. You don't need extra function. It works for more than three numbers. If you want to do that, then just do, like, without knowing about the brackets thing, then do min of min xy, comma, z. It's easier. We have that minimum cost path. I think I will make more than one DP lecture. Min path from top left to bottom right corner. Agreed. Subset sum. Determine if there is a subset of the given set with sum equal to given sum. This is basically knapsack. Coin change. How many ways can we make the change? The order of coins doesn't matter. Coin change problem for counting ways is very hard. It's very easy to write incorrect solution. Because people usually try adding another coin, and here it's bad if the order doesn't matter. You don't want to compute 1 plus 2 as a different way than 2 plus 1. Because of that, you should say that, let's say, the order must be sorted. First ones, then twos, threes, and so on. Like, I mean, 1, 2s, 5s. Solutions that do not contain mth coin. Solutions that contain at least one. Let count that be the function to count the number of solutions, then it could be written as sum of that and count of m. Not. That's tricky. This is the main part of the solution. And you here basically said that the state should also contain m, the number of coins. You put m in state, not only n, and well, s of something is the array given, so it doesn't matter, but we have m and n as state. Return the count of ways we can sum that, sum those coins to get some n. And here the hardest part was to say m and n should be the state. Table of n times m. I still think that it's harder to get what the state should be rather than what transitions should be. Edit distance. This is too hard. Let's take a look at this link provided by someone in the comments. The shortest route from Seattle to Los Angeles passes through Portland and then Sacramento. Then the shortest route from Portland to Los Angeles must pass through Sacramento too. The problem of how to get from Portland to Los Angeles is nested inside the problem of how to get from Seattle to Los Angeles. But how does it matter that Sacramento is in the middle? If we know that it's optimal to go from Seattle to Los Angeles via Portland, then yeah, then it's easy, but how do we know that? Problem is said to have overlapping subproblems if the problem can be broken down into subproblems which are reused several times. I don't like this example if we will not talk about it later. The problem of explaining how to implement that solution, how to find the shortest path. The problem of computing the Fibonacci sequence exhibits overlapping subproblems. The nth Fibonacci number can be broken down into the subproblems of computing those two. That can itself be broken down into those. I might want to make a drawing for Fibonacci, just like all the websites do. We can see that many subproblems are solved again and again. For example, that is called 3 times. Okay, that was short. By the way, remember, I'm very critical about stuff. Just I have big experience. If I see something not same as I think about it, then I in some way comment about it. Doesn't mean the article is bad. Maybe problems on this idea dp of left large will be helpful, like this one. This was L. I think L will be too hard from the educational DP contest. Remove the element at the beginning. The player earns X points. X is removed element. This part is too hard to explain for people not familiar with game theory. Why do they want to maximize X minus Y? That's a bit strange. And I would have to explain that when you have DP of some interval, then you maximize that score, but to go to shorter intervals, you take the score of the opposite player. And then we use the fact that I think this is too hard, at least for the first lecture. Hello, Aman Rush. Let's save this. And I can start splitting this into maybe 2 lectures. All the problems that require to maximize or minimize certain quantity, or counting problems that say to count the arrangements under certain condition or certain probability problems, can be solved by using DP. I will remove probability for now, maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe first try greedy. Fibonacci factorial. Okay, factorial is a bad example because you can compute it easier. Yeah. Mention factorial. Stairs. Count ways to get from step 1 to n if you can jump to one of the next 2 or 3 steps. What if we can make at most k jumps? K is given, k up to n. I think that's valuable to talk about what happens and how we decide about the state. Then when we are at some stone, or stair in this case, we should not only know that we are at this thing, we should also know what is the number of jumps we made so far. Now, will I find those problems? Maybe I should make them myself and add to Codeforce's dream. Lead code, most common dynamic programming problems. I will also go to add coder DP contest and see what were the easy problems. Frog 1, 2. There is a frog who is initially on stone 1. He will repeat the following action some number of times to reach stone n. If the frog is currently on stone I, jump to I plus 1 or I plus 2. A cost of the difference of h is incurred, where j is the stone to land on. Find the minimum possible total cost incurred before the frog reaches stone n. It's a bit counterintuitive that if you jump from I to I plus 2, the middle stone can be very high, and it doesn't matter. Still the problem is fine. Here we have k as an extra, which has the same solution. And this is also fine. Taro will choose one of the following activities and do it on the ith day. Swim in the sea to gain that happiness, do something B happiness, C happiness. He cannot do the same activities for 2 or more consecutive days. Find the maximum possible total points. That's also a good problem. Then we have a knapsack, and then the other is harder knapsack. Then we have LCS. Maybe I should just talk about first 6 problems from DP contest, just make it longer and more detailed. Those are quite valuable problems. Lead code top interview questions. Oh, this is just a list of problems. Top interview questions. Or maybe not. I want DP. Does it work that way? No. Medium LIS. This is something harder anyway. Coin change. You're given coins of different denominations and the total amount of money amount. Write a function to compute the fewest number of coins that you need to make up that amount. If that amount of money cannot be made up, return -1. I don't like the fact that there are no constraints. Let's also finish the Hacker Earth article. Dividing topics into several parts of short videos will help gain more views. I don't know. Why is it better? I mean, it shouldn't be several hours because it's just hard to learn all of that in one go. I'm thinking more about the fact that if somebody is bad with DP, he should learn easy stuff first, instead of even trying to go through all the examples that I want to provide. If somebody is better but still doesn't have a good grasp of iterative DP, then maybe he should jump to the second lecture. Congratulations for qualifying to Google Codegen Finals. Thank you, Libop. Or Lebop. Let's read Hacker Earth article. This is the same quote, then Fibonacci. I think I should make that drawing as well. Optimization problems and combinatorial problems. Not only that, the number of ways to get from stone 1 to stone n isn't combinatorial problem, right? Short, those are optimization or combinatorial problems. Sometimes it's count the number of ways paths, or just check if getting exactly that value is possible. Bottom up, top down. I don't like those real life examples. I will be an amazing coder. How? I will work hard like crazy. How? I'll practice that. How? I'm going to learn programming, then I will start practicing. Anyway, I'm not going to compare methods in my lectures. I will just do iterative one, which goes, so how does it go? Bottom up. Table filling algorithm. You know the calculations you have to do, so you pick the best order to do them in and ignore the ones you don't have to fill in. Look at the sample problem. Let us say that you're given a number n. You have to find a number of different ways to write it as the sum of 1, 3, and 4. For example, if n is 5, the answer would be 6. The number of ways to write n as the sum. Finding recurrence. Let's read this. Answer by Michał Danilak. Well, Mimino. He once made a long marathon stream for HackerRank, I remember, but I don't think it's available anymore. Imagine you have a collection of n wines placed next to each other on a shelf. For simplicity, let's number the wines from left to right as they are standing, from 1 to n. There is some price of each wine. Today is the year 1. On year y, the price of the ith wine will be y times pi. You want to sell all the wines you have, but you want to sell exactly one wine per year, starting on this year. One more constraint. On each year, you are allowed to sell only either the leftmost or the rightmost wine on the shelf. And you are not allowed to reorder the wines on the shelf. You want to find out what is the maximum profit you can get if you sell the wines in optimal order. I don't like this problem. It's very, the story is stupid. Why do you want to just sell the leftmost or rightmost wine? Maybe it makes sense that you want to keep them together, but it's not really a reasonable story. So for example, if the prices of the wines are that, the optimal solution would be to sell the wines in order P1, P4, P3, P2. Wrong solution. Why? Oh, they mean in general, I thought for this test. After playing with the problem for a while, you probably get the feeling that in the optimal solution you want to sell the expensive wines as late as possible. You can probably come up with the following greedy strategy. Every year sell the cheaper of the two. Although the strategy doesn't mention what to do when the two wines cost the same, this strategy feels right. But unfortunately it isn't, as the following example demonstrates. 2, 3, 5, 1, 4. And there is some better order. Write a backtrack. I'm not interested in recursive approaches. How do I figure out how to iterate over the parameters and write bottom-up solutions to DP-related problems? Excellent question. Creating the memoization solution first and then converting it to iterative solution. Here's the basic idea. Simulate the game from the end. Oh, it was some problem. Simulate the game from the end when there are only 2 cards left on the table. I had to check my phone. We know that the last 2 cards must have indices that on that. Is this about problem? Why is he talking about some game? We try to guess which card was removed in the last turn. Are there good resources on tutorials for DP besides the Topcoder tutorial? Maybe I should read Topcoder tutorial too. Iteration versus recursion. For example, calculating the length of the longest common subsequence of two strings would look like this. Iteration is faster, easy. That's a good point. Source code is short and clean. I will use those arguments. If I want to blatantly just say the same thing, then I will say from where I got that, not to just steal good explanations. There are a couple of reasons why iterative over recursion. Biggest breakthrough in my learning was when I started to think about the problems in the top-down fashion instead of bottom-up. One uses iteration, bottom-up, and the other one uses recursion. So he said he thinks top-down but implements bottom-up. The latter one is also called the memoization technique. You can always transform one into the other. Not really, but usually it's true. Like when from n you can get to n over 2 and n over 3, then you cannot do it iteratively at all. It must be recursion. Motivation is that list of wines. Write a backtrack. For the problem about wines, my solution would be, after we made some choices, what is important? The current score, the current year, and the remaining interval. Nine of n wines, if with price p of I. You can sell leftmost or rightmost. The jth cell gives j times p of I money. Find the optimal order. Think what is important after making some decisions. Actually, this has several solutions, because I can either say that from some start and end I say what is the biggest possible score so far, or what is the biggest remaining score. That's a lot of things. Where was that? Wine. We can either define dp of LR as the best score so far, or the best score for remaining interval LR. I want a lecture how to qualify for Google Code Jam. Guess what? Practice! Math Buddies knows what's up. Maybe focus on developing coding skills first, then a good rating in code versus good rating and achievements will follow. That's also solvable with FFT, right? The list of wines? I don't think so. It doesn't look similar to FFT. Hello Arya, what is the best way to learn DP? I hope the best way is to watch my future lecture, but I'm not yet sure about it. Errichto 2 is the new Errichto. Well, as I said and wrote in my FAQ, Errichto 2 is for streams. And the well-prepared content is on youtube.com/Errichto. Go subscribe. In particular, I do recommend this binary search lecture. Just watch it in 1.25 speed with captions on. What is the best resource? Yeah, so again, I hope it will be my future lecture that will be there in a few days. Write a backtrack. We call that. It should be a function calculating the answer using recursion. All the non-local variables that the function uses should be used as read-only. The function can modify only local variables. How do you know that backtrack? Is it always easy to say what is the remaining interval? The backtrack solution will look like this. We can get the answer by calling that. The solution simply tries all the possible valid orders of selling the wines. If there are n wines, it will try 2 to the n possibilities. Actually 2 to n minus 1. Because the nth choice from the left and right is the same. What is the best profit we can get from selling the wines with prices stored in the RIP when the current year is year and the interval of unsold wines spans through Bn inclusive? Minimize the state space. Year is redundant. One moment, I'm answering on my phone. I think I will soon finish the stream. Basically, I did what I wanted. I did some research on dynamic programming. I'm still to choose which exactly problems to talk about. Maybe the wine problem is a very good idea. Then the first lecture would be introductory. will be introduction, like with examples like Fibonacci and stairs. Then second lecture will be just about the wines problem. I like it. There are a lot of approaches. I like the fact that we have that solve bn thing where year was redundant. What else? I will close that. I will also say that first 6 problems on AdCoder DP contest from this doesn't even have constraints, so I will not link that. Okay, and those two, where were lines? Here. Link 1 is here. Link 2 is there. Okay, I did some research. I have a lot of stuff to go through. I can't talk about all of that during one lecture. As I said, I think it's better if they are like half an hour instead of 2 hours. Usually those in the internet are 5 to 10 minutes. They talk about basics. Here I will make the first one like introduction for stairs, coins, also with at most k jumps. This will be nice introduction. Then the list of wines, and then harder examples, including coin exchange, like both versions. Yep, that's the plan. One last thing is Scott forces. Nope. Is there something new? Nope. And what are future contests? Oh, in 25 seconds some contest will finish. As Topcoder SRM is in 3 days, but it's 3 AM for me. I will not participate. Facebook Hacker Cup online qualification round is on Friday, but I guess it should be long. And that's it. This year's Hacker Cup finals are in Dublin, and I'm sad about this. I anyway visit Dublin. I visited it this year and the previous one for Google Hashcode. I wish Hacker Cup was in some different place. Could be Europe, just not Dublin. What? Not now. Yeah, June 14 to June 17. There are like 3 days. No hurry there. Could you please include the DP optimization topic in your lecture? And no, my lecture will be much easier than DP optimization. Again, DP optimizations are to do, but not a priority. Your binary search explanation helped me learn this algorithm very easily. I hope so. Highly recommend if anyone is struggling. They were waiting for DP lecture to master it. What is the best way to learn time complexity of programs? Read tutorials about it? Yeah, I think so. Google tutorial time complexity and start there. This will be my answer for almost everything. What is the best way to learn something? Read about it and solve problems on that. This is not a topic where you solve problems on that, but then you should just read and learn, try to understand what is written in those blogs about it. Cool. I think I will record the DP lecture in the next few days. The next stream will be tomorrow, 9 AM, so 3 hours earlier than today. I'm not sure what I will do then. just like usually, the stream will be scheduled, and when I know the topic, I already put a name on YouTube and Twitch. Like today, what was the name? Planning YouTube programming videos. The same on, and that's what I did, I think. Just mainly I planned the DP lecture. Problem from code forces is also good for DP tetrahedron. I don't know that problem. Maybe I can Google that. Sounds scary. This problem? Nah, this is not a good example. One thing is that it's scary. The other is that like it's a graph just represented in some strange way. And why the answer isn't just power of 3? It makes a step from one vertex to another. To itself in exactly n steps. Okay, that's slightly harder. Okay, maybe that's a reasonable idea. I will add it to notes. And I need to do that today. Let me make that in bold. Done. And this should be put to the top, otherwise I will not remember about it. Cut, paste here. And now it's done. Okay. Thought it's similar to Fibonacci. I think it is, but it's more convoluted, not that simple like Fibonacci, not that well known. Then it doesn't have a big value. That's it for today. Thank you all for watching, for commenting, chatting with me, and see ya tomorrow 9 AM Polish time, just like always. On Twitch there is countdown to the next stream, plus follow me here on YouTube, plus Facebook, Discord, Twitter if you want some updates and news. Bye bye Snake1, bye bye everybody, see you next time.